Hey guys, welcome back to Kay Says. Guys, I know I have not been consistent with doing videos, but I'm trying to get back in the mood. So today we are going to do a video on Steve Air McNair. I don't know if you guys know him, but he was a football player on the Tennessee Titans, and his demise was very tragic. It was reported that his side chick, Hazel um, ended their life through like a murder suicide. Um, but the way it went down was pretty fishy, numerology wise. Um, it has a lot of the uh, you can say the Illuminati numerology connected to it. So that in itself for me is a cause to look into it. Football is back. I do like football. I haven't really got back into it because I used to follow Cam Newton, but he's been a bust. And then of course I'm from St. Louis, so I used to love the Rams, but they got stolen from us and went to LA. And I still watched them when they went to LA, but I kind of just don't have a connection with the team yet. So I'm just kind of out of football right now. But this is I've been wanting to do this reading on him for a while. I'm interested into what will come up. I know this is a sore subject for people who are a Steve McNair fan. But hey, whatever comes out is what comes out. So I'm ready for the trolls. Bring it. I already know how this goes. So without further ado, I already made sure that the cards were upright. So ancestors, angels, allow me to see the messages and hear the messages clearly. Put a fiery wall of protection around me, my home, and my family and my energy. Take my bias out of the reading. Okay, so angels, I would like to connect with Steve McNair only light energy. No dark energies are welcome in this reading. Let me see. Okay, so let's see. So many questions. What's the first question? Who shot you? Who shot you? Steve McNair, who shot you? Right out the gate. So who shot him? It wasn't just one person. We have the Queen of Cups, which means like it's not one person responsible for his demise, I assume. But we'll get into it. Wheel of Fortune. Page of Cups. And the Hanged Man. Okay, so what I'm getting from these cards is that a woman set this all up. A maternal type of woman. A woman that was very much in her emotions about him and the situation. And the decision was made out of emotion. More than likely that's his wife. Because Hazel Kazemi would not come up as the Queen of Cups at all. That's not her energy at all. At least I really don't think it is. The Wheel of Fortune tells me that again there was energies around him that conspired along with her to bring this situation about. As far as perhaps maybe who pulled the trigger, might have been a younger male, a Caucasian younger male. Whose family might come from money. So I'm like, what? whose family might come from money. He may have issues with his sexuality. He may have substance abuse. He may be an alcoholic. But ultimately, Steve McNair was a sacrifice. I don't know why he was a sacrifice, but he was a sacrifice. Interesting. And at the end, not the end, the bottom of the deck is Two of Pentacles. So somebody was making decisions about money, juggling money. Interesting. And the picture kind of doesn't look like it's a male or a female. But this is the underlying energy of who shot you. But somehow this person was paid. Somehow this person's life really wasn't stable anyway. So perhaps they were the perfect person to do this. Let's see. Does the shooter know Hazel Kazemi? Does the shooter know Hazel Kazemi? Does the shooter know Hazel Kazemi? Yeah, it appears to be somebody she was in. It may be that guy they was saying that she was in a relationship with, that white guy. It's somebody that she definitely had tensions, arguments, fought against. It was somebody who thought that they were supposed to start a family and be together. But it seems as if she was so enamored with Steve, she wasn't looking at this dude. So, in actuality, it's looking like Hazel Kazemi's initial boyfriend. Probably before she met Steve. This is crazy. But whoever this guy is, he's connected because he was able to set this all up and get away with it. I'm hearing because his family is connected. That's crazy. Yeah, so she basically put a final ending to the fact that they were never going to be together. Hazel and whoever that white boy is, that white kid. But it's looking like he's the shooter, guys. Let's see. Interesting. So let's ask Steve what happened to you. Steve, what happened the night of July 3rd? Steve, what happened the night of July 3rd to July 4th? What happened to you? How did you die? My head is hurting. How did you die? Something about, he's telling me the energies around it. So it was this his demise revolved around him Making a decision. Needing to make a decision. Either decision he was going to make was going to hurt someone. But he knew that he couldn't see clearly to make the right decision because his judgment was clouded. Instead, perhaps he maybe focused on fame, success, and the image, and was kind of caught up in all that. His moral compass was off. He indulged too much into the stardom and the fame and getting caught up in the hype of himself that his moral compass was broken. So I'm hearing he was making decisions without weighing the consequences. It was a lot of high-ranking people that covered this up. He did not see this coming at all. Yeah, and I'm just getting, ultimately, it was a younger person. It was a younger person who played a part in his final demise. Not necessarily Hazel Kazemi, but the shooter. The bottom of the deck is the Nine of Swords. Yep. So a woman, ultimately about his demise, was torn up. And this woman is Hazel Kazemi. Because she loves Steve and she brought the energies around that caused his demise. Interesting. Okay. So let's see. How do you feel about Hazel Kazemi, Steve? How did you feel about Hazel Kazemi? He felt like she was drama. He felt like she was unstable. He felt like she was immature, and the immaturity mixed with the passion, mixed with jealousy, would cause her to do certain things and act out of character. She moved too fast. He wanted to take things slower. Like he had to wrap up his situation. He had to move slower. And she was ready for results like right away, like fast. And that's something that he couldn't promise. Because he had a lot of ends to cut. And that his decision, back to the decision between him and somebody else, a decision to choose her would have affected about 5 people. Let's see. How does Steve McNair feel about his wife? How do you feel about your wife, Steve? How do you feel about your wife? Whoa. He feels like he left her with a lot of burdens and a lot of loose ends. And he left her with a mess to clean up. He also left her a lot of money. That was ultimately a lot of responsibility to cover. These cards wanted to come out too. He feels like she's reaping the benefits of the money that he saved and worked so hard for, which he kind of is sad, disappointed about. Like, I worked so hard for all that money and that legacy, and it was just like she got it all. The moon, he feels like the wife has secrets. She was dealing with somebody as well on the side. She was also like emotionally, she wasn't balanced. How does he feel about his wife? That again, she was emotional and in her head about how to get control back of her home. She also had a decision to make, but again, it was a decision out of emotion, whether to allow the ball to, because I don't know the role. I'll ask in a second which role she played, but it's like I'm getting from the card, whatever role she either chose to have a role in this or not to have a role in this and speak out. But if she spoke out, then of course her and her family and kids will be, at the mercy, at the end of a sword. So it was a lot of grief, it was a lot of worry, and it was a lot going on. Let's see. So I wasn't getting the feeling that necessarily he loved her. It's just that she played her role. He gave her a lot. She carried it. She did the best she could with that. But I'm not necessarily feeling like an emotion of love or anything like that, because she did have a role in this demise. Let's see. What was Steve McNair's wife's role in his demise? What was her demise? Which is clear to me, but I just want to ask. What was her role in his demise? What was her role in your demise, Steve? This Nine of Swords keeps coming out. So, let me grab my book, because maybe I'm missing a message. It's constantly coming out. So her role, wow, now I get it. Because at first I didn't realize, like, why does this keep coming out? So it's obvious. Her role was to play the grieving wife, the sad grieving wife. That was her role. That was her role, to play the sad grieving wife. And yeah, that's all she had to do, and she played that. So that was her role. And what I mean by that, because some people may think that's harsh, but it's the fact that she knew that this was going to happen, because it's also something that they needed her to be on cue to play the role of the grieving wife, because if she didn't, then again she would be met with the end of a sword, which means that she would be met with some type of hostility, violence, threats, uncomfortability, negativity, stuff that she didn't want. You know what I mean? So let's see. Wow. Um, like how did that white boy get in your house? I'm hearing he broke in. So I grabbed my cards backwards, so I didn't even mean to do that, but let me see. The Six of Cups reversed, but I'm understanding broke in. He broke in. I'm hearing broke in. He broke in. Followed her. He followed her one night. That's how he knew where she was meeting him at. Followed her one night. Broke in. Okay. I'm feeling like my head is hurting right here on the top on my left side. Like off of the center of my head. On the left side. Like, were you struck? Were you struck? Struck and tased. Struck and tased. Okay, and so it was right for the Six of Cups reverse to come out, because it's showing the energy of whoever this guy is that Hazel Kazemi was dealing with. It was just a fact of he was unable to let her go, and he was unable to adapt to her current circumstances, which was with Steve, and the fact that she no longer wanted to be with him. It may have bothered him, the fact that he was black, too. Yep, but this also speaks to Steve as well. Because he was still in this immature thought form himself of wanting to be with this younger chick, but you got this wife and these kids on the side, but then you're playing this role of like husband, good guy, and it's like from their perspective you're anything but that, and it's like he was being selfish. Yes, we all know he was a mama's boy, so that card speaks to that. I'm hearing he replays that day. He replays the day over and over again. So, and he was kind of in a way still living in the past. that's a really weird dichotomy. So we have Steve McNair over here living in the past. His mental state was him living in the past of his accomplishments of being young and that whole fast life instead of your golden years of kind of not golden years, but you know what I mean? Like, because he was like 30 something. So not golden years, but just the fact of settling down, establishing roots, being a father, raising your kids. If you didn't want to be with your wife, then there was ways to go about that. The ways that he was going about it wasn't the right way. That was an immature way. But I'm hearing I had to stay tied to her because being tied to her and being married was part of my image. Um, so then this out his mental state was being met with Dylan's mental state, who was also living in the past of wanting to be with Hazel and how he had all these plans for them in the future and not wanting to adapt to his current circumstances. So it's like these two that was actually more alike mentally had this conversion in time where one person didn't walk away. That is crazy. That's crazy. Let's see. What else do I want to know? Who was responsible for the cover up? Let's ask. Who was responsible for the cover up of your murder? Who was responsible for the cover up of your murder? So it gives me the Eight of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, and the Star card. Who was responsible for the cover-up of your murder? And I get the number 8. The number 8 is crucial because not only was he shot 4 times, but they have it recorded that he died on the 4th. So 4 and 4, that's 8. Then we have the 8 of Pentacles here. So let's see what this card can shed light on as far as the question. Who helped cover up this murder? Perhaps the NFL. His accountant. People that had control of his finances as well. I wonder why is this the first card out though? Who is responsible for the cover up of your murder? And the 8 of Pentacles comes out. I mean, if you really, I mean, it kind of looks like the police as well. This looks like the police is, but you know what? Boom. This is the card I was looking for anyway. This was the bottom of the deck. The Hierophant. So the Order, the Illuminati. But the people, the foot soldiers on the ground who took their orders was whoever's representing an apprentice. So somebody close to him. So the friend, I know a friend was there that night. The friend didn't call the police immediately. So the friend of him, because this is represents somebody that works closely. You see how he's working closely. So a friend, a Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords really could be his wife, or she could be the Queen of Cups. I wonder, was she there that night? Was she there? I'll ask that in a second. We're getting the Queen of Swords. And then the media. The last card is the media. And this one is a woman. So I believe that's the wife though, guys. A friend, the wife, the media. That's who was responsible for covering up the murder. Period. The order, the family, the Illuminati gave orders to these people. You see this guy, he's giving orders to the two. This guy is giving orders to two people below on the card. He gave orders to these three people. A friend that works closely, that is close. So that was the friend that he shared the lease. He shared the lease with at the condo where he was killed. That friend, the wife, the media. Those are the three people responsible for, or the three entities responsible for the cover-up of Steve McNair's murder. Allegedly, this is all for entertainment purposes only. Okay? This is all alleged. What else do I want to know? How does Steve well, Steve, I can ask you direct. So, Steve, how do you feel about your demise, Steve? How do you feel about your demise? Did anything else come out? So, I'm getting the Five of Cups. Ooh, you guys can't see that. I'm getting the Five of Cups. How do you feel about your demise, Steve? Is the question. And I'm looking at the Five of Cups. Which means that not only did he cry an immense amount of tears, he cried enough for a river. He cried, and cried. Not only because again this number 5 comes up, so I don't know, I forgot how many kids he had. Let me look that up real quick before my phone dies. Four. So 4 and the wife. So yeah, 5 people was affected, and he feels remorseful for those 5 people that he affected. 3 can't get over what happened. 2 will. It truly affects 3 where they just can't, they won't be able to get over it. 2 will be fine. I don't know who these 2 will. Who is this who will be fine? But out of these 5 people, only 2 will be fine. Or 2, not fine, but 2 was still able to thrive. 3, it affected them to where it was just unequivocally what is the word I'm trying to say? Is it irrequivocally or whatever? a record. I can't even think. I can't even talk right now. I'm not even normally like that. But 3 were indefinitely. I'll just say that were affected unequivocally. I guess that's the word I'm trying to say. But he's definitely mournful about the situation. Like, he's definitely sad over what was lost. He said over he said the fact that it was a quick change, a quick change. So let's see. Being separated from life, so the fact that his demise was so unfortunate and tragic. The fact that he got caught up in some bullshit. The fact that how it ended kind of overshadowed his career and his legacy that he worked so diligently to accumulate. To some extent, he feels abandoned or perhaps betrayed by a loved one. He does feel like something remains to be salvaged from the situation. I feel like he's worked through that. But it's still a sore subject. Somebody was pregnant also, and they miscarried through grief, perhaps. And there's somehow a child from this situation that feels mistreated. Two children feel mistreated, like he turned his back on 2 children. He ruined. Okay, so now I think I understand. So I believe him. I believe he had children with the wife, 2 children with the wife, 2 boys, and then he had 2 boys from previous marriages or relationships. Those kids feel like he turned his back on them. Those 2 kids are fine. The 2 kids that he lived in the same home with, they're not fine. She's not fine. Something about the 2 children that would live with him can't get over the death, the blood of it, the death, the way he died, the tragicness of it. They can't get over it. Somehow she was grieving over the money, the money, like loss of money, changes with money. The wife. Interesting. Let's see. What other questions? Let me just grab a deck to see what other messages am I missing. Steve, use this deck to tell me any other messages that you would like to convey. What other messages would you like to convey, Steve? What other messages would you like to convey? That people need to focus on loving themselves more, and that he should have loved himself more, which means that he had issues that wasn't resolved, that altered how he okay, so he had issues that were unresolved that allowed his mental compass to be, excuse my this barking dog from these neighbors. Okay. There was energies that was unresolved in his past that allow his moral compass to be skewed, and a lot of it dealt with self-worth, um and him feeling loved and satiated, and all those issues allowed his crown to kind of be, uh, it wasn't on his head straight. um So his judgment wasn't straight. And he realizes that now, but that all stems from a problem of self-worth. What other messages do you have, Steve? What other messages do you have, Steve? Envious. People were definitely jealous of him and the situation. So he's saying to watch out for envious people, because envious people, I'm hearing we don't take an envious person as seriously as we need to. I'm here on the other side because of envy. That young man envied me and my situation and my blessings, and instead of working to find his own path, he tapped into whoever his parents is connected to bring about my demise, because he was envious. Be confident. So I'm hearing I played like I was confident. I wasn't necessarily confident. And not knowing who I was as a man allowed me to make a mess of decisions. My decision making was off. The fact that I didn't know who I was lost. And I wish I spent more time cultivating true self-worth and confidence, instead of allowing things to give me confidence. So when those things weren't there, then I didn't either have confidence, or my confidence was measured by things and not what matters within. Busy bee. So staying still and not living in your purpose will allow you or someone else to take you to a place you're not supposed to be. So create a plan, get tapped in with your purpose, and stay on your path. It's easy to be distracted, especially when you don't have a plan or a regimen, or you're not disciplined. Football gave me that. But a lot of stuff football gave me, it exacerbated the things that football couldn't give me. And it exacerbated the cracks that I already had in my moral compass. Any other messages, Steve, that you would like to pass on? Any other messages? Whew. Sorry, guys. That just fell out of nowhere. Any other messages? Okay, this is a lot. On the horizon. So more news perhaps about what happened will be on the horizon. And also he's focused on the horizon, which means that he's no longer caught up in that day perhaps. He's moved on from it. But I'm hearing from time to time I think about it, even though I know I can't change it. He said, where I am, I'm here for the long haul, so I don't believe he's going to reincarnate. The time is now, so people need to seize their moments. People need to take life more seriously. I wish I would have took life more seriously. I wish I would have done more things had I known that my life would have gotten cut short so soon. Um, I was only 36. Um, so don't wait. Don't wait for life. Seize each and every opportunity and moment, because you don't know when it could be the end. Ask more questions. About what do you want me to ask about? Okay. That, and not also that, but more people need to ask questions as far as what they get themselves involved in. Don't just go for the glitter and the glamour of a situation. You need to sit down and read contracts. You need to sit down and really examine who you're dealing with. You need to sit down and really fine tooth comb over energies that you're bringing into your life. Meditate. So get more connected with your higher self. He was like, I didn't know anything about that. I had to get in touch with my higher self over here on the other side. Had I had known that or tapped into that when I was over there, perhaps I would have seen the error of my ways before this happened. More info needed. So a lot of people inquire about what happened to him. More info is to come. This isn't the last of this situation. More information will come out about it. Let's see. So, what other questions? So, let's see. How did... What is that? Because I'm pretty sure I can find out what that guy's name was. Gotta figure that out. Because I keep hearing Dylan. He was like Dylan Roof. So I feel like Dylan Roof, I believe was he the dude that did that church shooting? So Dylan, my leg is, in a way, Dylan was like a Manchurian candidate, like an MK Ultra mind control type of person. So he's saying it's a connection. Okay. Let me see. Keith Norfleet. Is that him? Nah, it's a little white guy. Oh, now they letting me see. Then he did, remember y'all, he did that rap. He let out a rap song about Steve McNair. So that was telling anyway. Because, yeah, he did it. Let me read this article from the Nashville Post. Norfleet is not a suspect in the homicide of Steve McNair, but some of his amateur hip-hop stylings about an old man collapsing sure do make you think. I don't want to be like this. I don't really want to hurt no feelings, but I'm only being real when I say nobody want to see an old man collapse. So that was a lyric from this song. He says, an old man have heart attacks. I don't want to be responsible for that. So let this shit go and walk away so you can still have a little bit of dignity. Try to stunt in front, fronting in front of somebody else till you're surrounded by 20 people with nobody's help. If you try to go Incredible Hulk, it won't work. Put so many holes in you, your nerves. Put so many holes in you, your nerves won't even jerk. Lurking in the shadows, thinking and scheming of work. Got a little cocky, so you decided to flirt. Now you're flirting with death. If you ever do it again, bitch, I'm not rapping. I'm getting a clip and clapping. And I'm not laughing. They're wrapping you up for your little trip to the morgue while I'm prepping for my trip to the shore. Don't ignore me. I'm not lying. I couldn't be more honest. If you ever do it again, you'll die. I promise. Hear the whole song. And the song is called Closed Casket. So I don't see it on here no more. But it took me to something on SoundClick. And it's funny, like it says Abel. Like his name is Abel. Abel, like Cain and Abel. That's wild. Let me show you the pictures. So he has like a dead look. I'm hearing like he has like a dead look like Dylan Roof. So that's allegedly the shooter. Broke in, and tased Steve McNair allegedly. Here he is pictured with Hazel Kazemi. I'm trying to get it to where it's not glaring. Can you guys see that? I don't know. It's glaring bad. There he is pictured with Hazel Kazemi, the boyfriend. Keith Norfleet. So let's ask, how did Keith Norfleet feel about, well, it's pretty obvious in the song, but how did he feel about Steve McNair? How did Keith Norfleet feel about Steve McNair? How did Keith Norfleet feel about Steve McNair? Ten of Cups, so an ending. He felt that he brought about an ending to his happy family, which came out initially in the reading. He was causing an ending to his happy ending. How else did he feel about him? He felt that he was a perfect sacrifice to go up in the family. If I kill him, he's a big target. I will really go up. I'll be taken care of for forever. If I sacrifice him. Give me a second to get to that card. So, yeah. That came out before, guys. That came out when I initially asked the question. Sacrifice, yeah. He felt that he was the perfect sacrifice. he felt that he was being pushed to make a sacrifice anyway, and he said this is the perfect guy to get out the way, and he wanted to pay back. So hold on. So let me ask another question. So Dylan, how did you kill Steve McNair? I keep seeing I didn't call his dude Dylan, and his name is Keith. Shit, I don't know why they're making me like. I don't know why I'm saying it. Keith, why did you kill Steve? Well, I know why, but how? How did you kill Steve? How did you kill Steve? So it wants to come out this way, this way, this way, this way. Bottom of the deck. Okay. So let's figure this out. How did you kill Steve? The world card. So the world card I think the world is 21. The world card is speaking to, so I said, how did he kill him? He traveled there. Okay, so he traveled to his place. He traveled to his place with the intention of killing him. So this is speaking to just the malice of forethought of his mental state, of Keith's mental state. So this was a plan. It was a plan. He played it over in his head, and things were put in place. These people, you see these four corners, people were put in place to make sure that the plan went according to how it was supposed to go. Okay? Temperance. Temperance. Let's see which. I'll go to 18. I'll go to D. No, the moon is 18. Okay. 14. Got it. Let me see. I'm getting the element of race. Like, the Temperance card is giving me an element of race. So it was, now, so first we have the plan. He put the people in place. The Temperance was the fact that he didn't like that she was talking to somebody black. He didn't like that. The next step, it appears that he tied her up. Sign of broke in taste. Okay, 9. So that'd be the 8. Okay. Right. So okay. He was getting off of the fear. So okay, I'm being shown Steve McNair being tased. This is all allegedly for entertainment purposes. So I'm showing him being tased, her being tied up, crying, begging. Interesting. He was getting off on the fear of it. He tased her and positioned them, then shot them. But he had help though. He had help. It was 5 people that came to Steve's house that night. That condo, townhouse, whatever. 5 people, including, if I say Dylan one more time, including Keith, allegedly. Because then I'm like, hold on, I know he can't do all of this by himself. 5 people. He got help from the police. There was an older policeman, white policeman, slightly older than Keith, that helped. But if it's coming out as a night, he may be. He then the cop was in his 30s. Then people were paid. And they were locked in on an agreement and payment. And then if anybody was linked, they was just to play dumb. If anybody came to them with any questions, they was just to play dumb. They was sending the cops looking. While Dylan is over here, the cops were paid off to look this way. He was being hidden. It's looking like he did go to some type of beachy, tropical, coastal area after this happened, actually. Even though he said it in that song, that looks like the truth. So I'm hearing both were. So he initially hit. So somebody, I don't know if but somebody initially hit Steve over the head, tased them. She was maybe, I don't know exactly what happened to her right after that, but then she was able to see him on the ground, but she was tied up, crying, begging to not do this with him. He's like, it's too late, it's already done. She got tased, then they got positioned, and then they were shot, allegedly. This is some wild ass shit right here. And the question was how I asked Keith, how did he kill him? And he just said, that was the answer. Allegedly. What did Keith get in exchange for killing Steve? What did Keith get in exchange? What did Keith get in exchange for killing Steve? I'm hearing there's evidence. There's evidence. They didn't get everything. They scrubbed the scene, but there's evidence they didn't get everything. He moved up in the order. The question was, what did Keith get? What did Keith Norfleet get in exchange for killing Steve McNair? Allegedly, the Hierophant card came out, which signifies he got to go up in the order. He got a nod from the order. He got approval from the order. Whatever order is different type of orders, but whatever type of society, secret society he's in, he moved up. Bottom of the deck. And he was able to put an ending to the happy ending she thought she was going to have without him. So that was what he received. This is wild. What other questions am I missing? Will it ever come out that Keith Norfleet killed Steve McNair allegedly? Will it ever come out? Okay, so the devil pops out. We knew he would come sometime. I was surprised he didn't pop out sooner, actually. Shit. So, will it ever be found out? The media card comes up. A pregnant female. He told a pregnant female. He's going to tell a pregnant female. The pregnant female will talk. More than likely. And then some type of judgment will come down. But he's not going to get away with it. He's also going to be tortured in hell for it. Not only that, but, or in a lower realm. I mean, you don't have to call it hell, but a lower realm, whatever. He'll be tortured, punished for the murder anyway, when he eventually dies or whatever. But, yeah, something about a female. A female will talk. Some type of blonde-headed female. Interesting. So, guys, that concludes the reading. If I missed any questions, feel free to leave those questions and make sure they're concise. If you would like me to do a part 2, leave those questions down below and I'll do a part 2 if I missed anything. Thank you for tuning into the reading. As I always say, vibrate higher, seek the truth, and carpe diem. Until the next time, bye guys.